Hail Caesar is a new movie directed by the Coen brothers, and it is about Josh Brolin, who's a fixer in 50s Hollywood. Basically, if there's a problem on a Hollywood film set, then you call this guy and he will come and fix it. And other than Captain America Civil War and Star Wars Rogue One, Hail Caesar was my most anticipated movie for the entire year. For all of 2016, my third most anticipated of the year. Wow, was I disappointed. This movie is an absolute train wreck. It has been a long time since a movie has disappointed me like Hail Caesar has. I'm actually amazed how much this movie just failed at what it was going for. I guess part of it is that I didn't know what it was going for, though, because I assumed that it would be about the abduction of George Clooney, but I was wrong, because the whole movie's really spread out, and it's dealing with all these random subplots, and it ultimately doesn't have a focus. That's what's wrong with the movie, is that it doesn't focus on one or two subplots. I assumed that's what it would do from the trailer. It doesn't. It's really just all over the place. So within this movie, there are like 4 different movies that are being made, and Josh Brolin needs to fix all of those. There's like a hoity-toity British movie that Ralph Fiennes is directing. There's the Gladiator epic you've seen in the trailer George Clooney's in. There's this underwater adventure that Scarlett Johansson's in. There's this musical that Channing Tatum's in. It's 4 different movies, and they keep cutting to like the actual film of the movie, so they keep cutting like to inside of the movie, and it just feels very disjointed from the rest of the movie. It's cutting to a movie within the movie, but it cuts to 4 different movies within this one movie, and it just feels like they're killing time by doing that. I feel like if they had all these characters just in one movie, then that would have made more sense. It would have established all of them more as a character. You would have seen this one dysfunctional set that would have represented kind of all the sets. But when you cut to all these different ones, especially where some of the movies are wacky, like the Scarlett Johansson one, it just takes away from the movie. You feel like they're killing time by putting in all these additional scenes of the movies within the movies, and you feel like you can't keep track of which characters are on what set and what subplots going on what set. Speaking of subplots, this movie is riddled with subplots that either don't make sense or are just stupid. One of the subplots of this movie is that George Clooney was kidnapped by this organization called The Future, and they do a reveal once he's kidnapped about who The Future is and what they stand for, and it's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, it was kind of like a chuckle moment. You're like, oh, okay, but then when they go on and George Clooney's actually talking with these people, you're bored. They're explaining their whole philosophy to you, and you're like, okay, can we move on? That entire part of the movie was just a drag. I hated it. It was actually the worst part of the movie. There's this one kid in the movie who I don't know the name of the actor. I'm sorry. I'll put a picture of him right here. He was like the Western star. I enjoyed him in the movie, and I enjoyed his kind of subplots, but I just felt like when he was on set with Ralph Fiennes, they were annoying together, and I felt like his interactions with other characters just didn't really work. All the performances in the movie were fine for their individual parts, but the movie just feels so disconnected. Like, one part doesn't relate to any other part of the movie. It feels like every single scene in the movie is just one isolated scene that has nothing to do with the scene that comes after it or the scene before it. I feel like the entire thing was just one inside joke between the Coen brothers and the producers of this movie, because it didn't make sense to any audience goer. There was no coherent story to be found in the movie. The Coen brothers didn't convey one concise plot running throughout the movie. I thought that Josh Brolin would be going between 1, maybe 2 sets, but the fact that he goes to all these different sets, they either spend too little time in each scene that you're like, wait, who's that character again? Or they spend too much time in one scene that you get bored by it and you want the scene to move on because it's dragging. Guys, this movie was pretty looking, but ultimately the Coen brothers' job as directors was to convey an effective story, and I feel like they didn't do that in this movie. The entire thing felt disjointed, it was confusing at points, the actors were fine in the movie, but there was nothing special. I walked away from this movie thinking it was a huge waste of potential. I really wish they'd handled it differently. The trailer's complete false advertising. It's not what the movie's about at all. It's just these completely different scenes that really don't make sense when they're put together. The Coen brothers are trying to write like a love letter to old school Hollywood. Well, they should have done that more effectively by, writing a good movie. Hail Caesar isn't only a movie I'm gonna tell you shouldn't see. It's a movie I actively urge you to not see in any capacity. Usually I'll say, oh, you can see it on cable, or, oh, see it at the discount theater. This is a movie you should avoid. I'm gonna give Hail Caesar a D+. I feel like very, very little in this movie worked. It was a movie that was just a snore to get through for me. But guys, those are my thoughts on Hail Caesar. I know this thing has like a 78-79% on Rotten Tomatoes, so there were a lot of people out there who did enjoy it. Be sure to comment down below if you did enjoy it, or if you agree with me and you didn't enjoy it. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com. I've been posting a lot of written posts of some reviews from 2015, movies that I missed. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at John M. Hayek. Links to both those in the description below. Be sure to hit that button to subscribe to stay up to date on all video reviews from me. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.